AMC stock is green on the day, but not so much here in the markets. Markets are now in the red, down about 0.1% after being up about 0.5% before this data point came out, and that is the 1 year inflation expectation. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to look at retail sales. We're going to talk briefly about the bank earnings and what was said there. But we are going to take a look at what is happening with AMC as well here today, because you are above your key levels, that 100-day moving average, as well as the 50-day moving average being the biggest levels to watch for right now. So we're not going to waste your time. As you can tell, a lot has happened today. We have a lot to get into in a very short amount of time. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And if you guys want to come trade with me live in real time as well, link down below in the description of this video. So number one, let's talk about what happened today with 1 year inflation expectations. This is what caused the drop that you're currently experiencing. It's all the 1 year inflation expectation. So Michigan inflation expectations in the United States increased to 4.60% in April from 3.6% in March of 2023. So look at this chart, right? Ever since really the beginning of 2022, you've seen inflation expectations come down. And when they actually went higher right here from 4.7% to 5% from October or from September till October, that's where you actually hit a low in the markets. Right here was your low. So this is what has happened since then. It's just consistently went down. Almost every single reading besides that February reading went down last month. And now it just shot straight back up. So this is bad because it's going to show that inflation is probably going to be a lot stickier than we hope for, and it's probably going to be a lot higher than we hope for a lot longer than we hope for. So that is why the markets are selling off here today. As far as current conditions from consumers, and this is mainly what this survey does focus on, was positive. The number came in at about 63.5. You were expecting about 62. So consumer overall sentiment in the economy is getting better. Maybe that's a reason why inflation expectations are going higher. But this could spark a lot of fear here in the markets. Now, it's an interesting day because you're also getting bank earnings that across the board were very good. I mean, JP Morgan is up 7% after their earnings, and basically all banks that reported earnings today are positive. I believe besides Wells Fargo, after this latest drop, Wells Fargo is negative. But really, it was a lot better than what it could have been. So that was positive, right? And it was interesting because yesterday, it's one of those things where if bank earnings are good, then the Fed's not going to be able to ease as much. It's not going to be a reason to cut rates or to pause. And that could have been seen as a negative thing, but it was seen as a positive thing that banks are still doing okay. So you had that, as well as that, you did have a retail sales. So retail sales came in at -1%. You were expecting -0.9%. So pretty close to those expectations. And that is really why we didn't get a move based off of the retail sales. And we did, but it was so tiny you can't even really spot it out in the pre-markets. So on expectations there. Now, this is bad. This is very bad. Don't let me sugarcoat it to you guys. Inflation expectations going higher the way that they did for the one year ahead is not good. Now, good thing is 5-year inflation expectations remained at 2.9%. So that's where this is kind of a head scratcher, because you've seen 1 year inflation expectations go up so much. 5-year inflation expectations didn't move at all, and the consumer is feeling more confident. Right, they're feeling better about the economy. Some head scratcher dynamics going on here, but that is what you have today for your Friday as far as economic data. You are going to get. It looks like you already had Fed Waller that spoke as well. I believe he might be speaking right now too. So we will watch for any headlines on that, bring you guys any developments. But that looks like it is your day. Now, if we go ahead and switch gears and talk about AMC, AMC is up about 0.77% at the time of recording this video. AMC is trying so hard to break out from here. You keep getting these strong moves in the beginning of the day, intraday, and then the stock just can't hold it up throughout the remainder of the day. You are fighting right here at the 100-day moving average. AMC stock currently trading at $5.49 per share. 100-day moving average is 1 penny higher at $5.50 per share. And literally, that's been the story the last 3 days now. Is, we're breaking above it, we're holding above it a majority of the day, and then just by the end of the day, by after hours, we just can't close above it. And that's like literally even a couple pennies every day now. So we want to see if we can hold above it today. There's a lot of hype going on in the markets, different stocks moving, 1,000% on the week, 300% overnight. So you are getting some positive kind of, I don't want to say meme stock attention, but kind of, right? It could kind of start to turn into that. And I would say that is an overall net positive factor affecting AMC here today. Now, if we go ahead and talk about the bonds here briefly. Yeah, I know bonds are boring. I get it. But bonds are falling by over 0.5% for TLT. This is a 20-year Treasury ETF. If you take a look at CNBC and go to bonds, you will see that bond yields are actually increasing about 5 basis points here today. And it says 2-year Treasury yields rise back above 4% despite positive inflation reports this week. So your short duration bonds are really exploding. And the 2-year back at 4% is pretty symbolic. And that's moving, up almost 12 basis points here on the day. That's a pretty substantial move. Last time we were at, we were just at 5% actually March 8th when the markets were ripping. So I guess it doesn't necessarily have to mean, stocks have to go down, but that has been the correlation. When the short duration treasuries rally, stocks fall, and that is what you are seeing here today. Now, let's go ahead and focus on some of the data behind AMC stock. We'll go ahead and give Ortex a bit of a refresher here so we can get the best information. And the markets are just plummeting right now. Those inflation expectations, man, jeez. Okay, AMC is on the threshold securities list, if you did not see that from yesterday. Now, what this means, in my personal opinion, is you're going to get some valuation support. You're going to get some stability in AMC stock, meaning I don't really expect, while AMC's on the threshold securities list and you're getting some constant buying in every day, I don't expect the stock to really drop that much or to trend down at the very least. Just because FTDs, they need to be closed out, and we know the numbers. It's not like we don't have that data. If you take a look over here, you're seeing about 2 million FTDs that need to be closed out here today. That's buying pressure, right? So I do think that's a little bit better than not. Obviously, if you're going to get a big drop based off of news, this ain't really going to help you too much. But if you get what we've seen, just slow and steady kind of days, usually not any news coming out, then it will help AMC. And I think that's going to be the case heading into the court date, right? On April 27th. I really don't expect a whole lot of news. I don't expect a whole lot of developments heading into that, but I do think it's going to be a very bullish event heading into April 27th. And then after April 27th, I think you could get hundreds of percents of a rally if it's not as clean cut as I think. If I am right, and the judge does not just greenlight AMC to do all their initiatives, then you're going to rally. Anything besides a stamp of approval is going to be bullish for the share price of AMC. Now, Like I said, those are the FTD numbers. It will update over this weekend. Today is Friday, right? Next week, we get a fresh new trading week. It's going to be more earnings. Next week's going to be absolutely wild as well. But that's a topic. Jeez, that's a topic for another video. But nonetheless, we're going to get new FTD numbers, and I'm sure they're going to be a lot higher than what we are seeing today and yesterday. Now, live short interest, our free float, sitting at 26.37%, 136.18 million shares that are currently sold short. Interactive Brokers has a 262.5% cost bar rate on AMC stock. 350,000 shares that are currently available to be lent out. Cost bar rates earlier, just about an hour ago, was at about 350%. So take it for what you will. It's hard to know the exact numbers, but they're still in the multi-100% range, and that is a bullish thing. Now, Stonko tracker data probably didn't move around all too much. Yeah, in the money puts at 41,000, out the money puts at 113,000, in the money calls at 14,000, out of the money calls at 130,000. So relatively stable over here as far as the option activity. Not a surpriser. AMC stock is not moving around all too much right here and right now. If we take a look at the option activity, and specifically that option expiration for April 28th, look at that. Again, the calls as a percent of total open interest is now at 21%. Yesterday, it was at 19.5%. So you're up, 2.5% for the total open interest of calls. That's a good thing. And just on Monday, you were sitting at 9.77% of this total option activity for April 28th on AMC being calls. That's stupid low. You've never seen anything like that. Let's look at other option expirations. 34% calls, 31% calls, 38% calls. This Friday, 48% calls. And then you get to 9%. Like, that's too bearish. Even if you wanted to be bearish, that's too bearish as a collective whole. 78, almost 79% of the total open interest is puts for that expiration as well. Now, today, you've seen 9 orders so far, totaling $3.15 million. Positive order value sitting at about 11%. So if we see anything weird, we will definitely bring that to your guys' attention. But that is going to do it for this update here on the markets as well as AMC stock. Markets, S&P now down 0.25%. And those Michigan inflation expectations for inflation, oh boy. Get ready, baby. Buckle up. It's going to get crazy here on Wall Street, and maybe a little bit more red than we have been used to over the past couple of weeks. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.